Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, Hunter. Welcome back to the Baseball Hut. Believe it or not, I hopefully you like this video. Obviously, it's a Pete Alonso video. Obviously, I've lost my mind with the hat. But that's okay because we want Pete back. We support the Mets for bringing him back. And this is about Pete hopefully coming back. I will mention that on Monday, so I'm doing this video, it's very quiet. Throughout all major baseball, nobody's tweeting anything out. Nobody's posting anything on X. It's quiet as quiet can be. Which means possibly all hell's going to break loose, or it's just going to be a quiet day. I don't know. We do have a little over a week before Christmas, so it's going to be a busy week. Expect some trades, expect some signings. The Cody Bellinger trade with the Yankees seems to have sort of been frozen in time. The Yankees get cheap. They don't want to spend money to pay him. But anyway, it's not about that. Let's talk about Pete Alonso. Why it makes so much sense for the Mets to bring him back. And this is I got a couple articles to read to you. Mets Pete Alonso reunion makes too much sense to not happen. Alonso's free agent for the first time, and the Mets need line of protection for Juan Soto. Ain't that the truth? And that's what it's about. Really building a very strong lineup. Following the Mets signing of Juan Soto, the biggest deal in sports history, the expectation was that a dam had broken. Surely the winter meetings would be crazy and an avalanche of signings would happen. But the meetings were largely a dud, as has been the case the last few years. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't even know why they even have it anymore. And while there have been some big moves since Soto signed, including the Yankees inking Max Fried and traded for Devin Williams, and the Red Sox swinging a deal for Garrett Crochet, things have remained mostly stagnant when it comes to major offseason moves. That includes Pete Alonso, whose market, at least regarding leaks about interested teams, has been quiet, very quiet. Along with Alonso, there are a whole bunch of big free agents out there, including Corbin Burns, whereas he's going to go to San Francisco. Alex Bregman, the Mets have been involved. Christian Walker, quiet. Teoscar Hernandez, quiet. Roki Sasaki. Mets, the Padres, and the Dodgers are looked as favorites, but he won't sign until January. He's got 45 days. Sean Manaea, very quiet. Walker Buehler, quiet. Carlos Estevez, quiet. Tanner Scott, nothing. There are also lots of trade candidates available for the taking, such as Cody Bellinger, who's sitting there for the Yankees to take. They don't want to take the money on that contract. Dylan Cease was just put on the market. Luis Castillo, keep an eye on. And Jesus Luzardo, who I haven't mentioned much, but talk was that he might be going to the Cubs or any of these other teams. So something will have to give at some point, perhaps with a flurry of moves happening over the next week or so before things slow down for the holidays. Again, like I said, days the 16th, we've got about 8 more days. I don't count Christmas. So nobody works on Christmas. And really, we got about a week. So we really got until next Monday. They need to add at least, this to the Mets, 1 and ideally 2 legitimate starting pitchers to the rotation that is full of question marks. And one of those pitchers should have the ability to pitch near the top of the rotation. Right. They have to boast a bullpen that right now has 3 guarantees and not a whole lot else. They must decide if they trade Starlin Marte and or the squirrel, Jeff McNeil. I am not wearing a squirrel hat. Those things are, squirrels are gross looking. You don't want them on your head. Not wearing that. And they need to find a first baseman. If first base isn't addressed, a third baseman, in which case Mark Vientos can shift to first. And also I would put out there, the Mets could certainly use another hitter, probably a DH type. And we'll see. I mean, that's another thing. That's sort of the last of the everyday player holes that the Mets need. But a first baseman, and Pete is the most important thing. Alonso is a homegrown man. I skipped a little bit. Is beloved by a large swath of the fan base and is poised to break the Mets' franchise home run record in 2025 if he resigns. And if Alonso, who has spoken repeatedly about his love for the city and the fans, is back, he will join Brandon Nimmo as a potential career Met. Now, he was seen at Saturday night's main event for WWE, which was at the Nassau Coliseum, I believe, on Saturday, this past weekend. So I think he has a home here out in Suffolk County, if you know what Suffolk County is. I know he's been seen here. I know a relative ran into him in a very odd place, and one of my relatives got married and met him right after the marriage was not consummated, but right after the ceremony. So he met him out here. So The Mets reportedly, so he lives out here. Really, he's very involved here, in Suffolk County. The Mets reportedly offered Alonso a 7-year, $158 million extension during the 2023 season. That would have brought out his final arbitration year and been worth $22.5 million annually through 2030. So perhaps there is common ground to be found here if the Mets, under the same ownership but different head of baseball operations, offer him something like $125 for 5 years, $150 for 6 years. I don't know. Let's go from his perspective. Alonso and his agent Scott Boras want to land an enormous deal, as is their right, but it's really hard to envision a scenario where Alonso's market gets out of control. Not with him entering his age 30 season, coming off 2 relatively down years and not being a plus defender. Freddie Freeman, a much better all-round hitter than Alonso, and a Gold Glove first base, got a 6-year, $162 million deal. Matt Olson, who's also a better all-round hitter, I wouldn't go that far about Olson. He's a better fielder. I wouldn't go that far. I think Pete's a better hitter than him, a better home run hitter. That's my own opinion on that. I'm not the biggest Matt Olson fan, So it's fair to believe that Alonso could top out at 6 years and a salary commitment right around or a bit below what Freeman and Olson received. But that would likely take a hot market. And the available first baseman beyond Alonso, including Bellinger and Christian Walker via free agency, as well as short-term free agent options, Paul Goldschmidt and Carlos Santana, meaning the supply could outweigh the demand, so he might not get a big contract. That doesn't seem likely to me. Now, what this video is about really is about former Mets general manager Steve Phillips, and obviously he's a big guy. He does all these sort of, he's now with the media now. He doesn't really run any teams. Too bad. He was a very talented guy. Did a very good job at the Mets. He never got a job past the Mets, but it's from SI. Former general manager would be shocked if New York Mets don't re-sign Pete Alonso. Steve Phillips, who was the New York Mets general manager from 1997 to 2003, believes his former team will bring back Pete Alonso this winter. Okay, let's see what Phillips has to say. Even after his late season heroics gave the Mets life, Pete Alonso was still widely expected to leave Queens this winter. That sentiment gained even more steam when the Mets signed outfielder Juan Soto to a 15-year, $765 million deal earlier this month. They still had a void to fill at first base, but it was unlikely that the front office was going to spend another $200 million or more to get Alonso to fill in. That's a lot of money. Alonso's still a free agent in mid-December, and his potential return to New York seems to be back in the picture. Steve Phillips, who was the general manager back when, was a guest of MLB Network's Hot Stove on Monday. Phillips was asked about how Alonso could fit into the Mets' new look lineup, and the former executive made it clear how he believes things will play out. Quote, "I'd be shocked if Alonso doesn't end up with the Mets," Phillips said. "I just think it's the right fit, and I don't know that somebody will go beyond what the Mets are willing to do." Absolutely. The Mets, Pete Alonso's value to a team is highest with the Mets. It is highest with the Mets. His value is not nearly as high as it would be with the Nationals, the Cubs, the Brewers, the Mariners. Don't go to Seattle. Don't go to Oakland, Pete. As on the other side of the world, don't go there. That's not a good situation for you. Nobody will care what you do. And nobody's going to, they're not going to be people doing videos sitting there with a polar bear hat on. Quote, "I think that for Pete Alonso, the view there was that he was going to get over $200 million, that he was going to get the bigger payday. And I just don't think the market's there for first baseman," Phillips said. "We see Matt Olson, we see Freddie Freeman both at around 160, 170. And I think Pete probably slotted in there." The resurgence in rumors pairing Alonso with the Mets comes alongside additional buzz that New York is interested in free agent third baseman Alex Bregman. While that could be viewed as the Mets bluffing in order to gain leverage in the negotiation with Alonso, Phillips noted that Boras represents both players and would be able to sniff out any funny business. As it stands out, the Mets have Mark Vienna in place as their starting third baseman, but he can move to first if Bregman takes over in the hot corner. Alternatively, New York could resign Alonso or find another free agent first baseman in Christian Walker or Rhys Hoskins. Couple of things about this. The Mets could also do this. This could be an interesting idea. the Mets could re-sign Pete Alonso, keep him at first, sign Alex Bregman, put him at second, keep Vientos at third. That way you have two big hitters. You re-sign Jesse Winker. You keep Starlin Marte. They'd be your DHs and part-time outfielders. Or you sign Pete. You put Bregman at third. You make Vientos a DH. And you go and you trade McNeil. You trade a whole bunch of people. And you still bring in Winker. You still bring in, there's a backup DH and a left-handed bat off the bench. You get rid of Marte. You get rid of McNeil. You put the kids there at second, competing like with Acuna if he's still here, or Ronnie Mauricio if he's still here. There's any number of things. That's what's so great about being a Mets fan, is the Mets can do anything they want. Anything. But it has to be smart. And we know we got the smartest general manager in baseball. Well, that's what the media tells us all the time. And he's done a good job here. The first year, he gets his team to the postseason, having to reduce his payroll, and was able to do a great job. So, but you let me know what you think about this. All these different ideas. If you have ideas, send them to me. Don't say anything ridiculous. And of course, there's always ridiculousness every day. I do think it's funny when I get these trade proposals. I used to get it from this one guy, but he had to get sent off to the Phantom Zone, where he would send me. The Mets will trade 15 players to the Yankees and get back 5 players, and you're all set. Meanwhile, I got 10 holes on my 40-man roster. He was the best. And he actually turned out to be right, because he was wanting to trade Jacob deGrom for the longest time. He was absolutely right. So one day, I guess, a blind squirrel does get a nut once in a while. But, yeah, if you have any ideas, put them in the comment section. That's what I want. If you do that, great. And also, the most important thing, hit the subscribe button. And for new people coming on, new subscribers, we've got memberships here. It's a great way to support the channel on a regular basis. I take super chats. It's great when I do live streams and do these different premieres during the day. And of course, we have really a lot of great stuff here. So please help me out in any way you can. It expands the channel. It's money for me, money for YouTube, and it's a great way to support me during this time of Christmas giving. And I'll have more hats like this. I got a whole bunch of hats here. It's going to be a lot of fun next week. So thank you for watching this video. And of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut, and I'll see you later.